Hey everyone, welcome to my blog. Here I post unscripted videos documenting my journey as an AI startup founder. I'm a one-person company. I quit my job at Google a couple years ago, a little over 2 years ago, to build my own Google and rethink how one would build Google from scratch in today's day and age. This is something I've wanted to do, as in building a search startup for many years. And I've always wanted to be a founder. I always loved being a founder. And this is my third attempt. So, welcome to my vlog. And here I'm going to talk about today how I'm approaching building my own little Google. Like, how do you even build it? What do you even build it? How do you even build it? So in these series of videos, I'll be sharing my journey, the decisions I'm making, the challenges, etc. Today's video, I'm going to talk about something very high level. How am I thinking about this at the 50,000 feet level? And what you see on the screen kind of roughly represents how I'm thinking about it. And the little box in the center is what is sort of the brains of the entire operation. So the idea is very simple. It's like another search engine, except it'll look more like an AI chat app, in my opinion. However, the responses will not look like a chat response. So the idea is not to have a chat to get your search response. That's not the idea, like you would do with ChatGPT. So I'm thinking different. I'm thinking that imagine someone would come to my AI application and ask for a query or enter a prompt uh, about something they have a question of. The response should be more colorful, more what I would think a search response would look like, very nicely formatted in different sections, the high level response, the summary at the top, various detailed sections at the bottom, hopefully diagrams, hopefully images, hopefully videos that we can find uh, on YouTube, etc., embedded in the response. So it's a response that looks more like an editor would put it together, a human editor, than just a chatbot responding. So that's how I'm thinking about how the user experience overall would look like. And uh, how would I compose this response? And that's sort of the hardest part. I mean, that's really what the startup I'm building is all about. That's where I'm spending 80-90% of all my energy. And we'll go in detail in these series of videos on what that sort of box looks like. There are many, many, many subcomponents in that box, but it's been a blast thinking about it. How do you start? What do you put in it? What makes the most sense? But the one thing I want to highlight, because this is sort of one of the first set of videos where I'm talking about this, um, uh, just my journey, I want to start at the 50,000 feet level. And one of the things that I want to call out right from the beginning is that this startup is something that I want to build as a user-centric startup. What that means is decisions that I make would be in the benefit should be such that they benefit the user, not shareholders or advisors or investors. I don't have any investors. I'm paying everything with my credit card right now. So that's number one. Number two is what I call anti-engagement. So the goal of Google and many products that we know, social media apps, etc., even AI apps, is to increase engagement and revenue, of course, but engagement is a key metric. I'm thinking about it that that's not how I want to build it. I'm calling it sort of the anti-engagement metric. And so idea is that if you start to use my product, which the branding of it is to be announced soon, um, I don't want you to keep coming and searching. That, in my mind, that's a fail. Ideally, one of two things can happen, should happen. You come and you ask your questions, typically more interesting questions, and you get a good response back that's pretty satisfying. You may have a follow-up, and then off you go, you're living your life. And the second thing is, once the system gets to know you in a very privacy conscious way, you should get a morning email with what you possibly want to know beforehand, before you even think you'd know it. You know, from the news that the AI would infer, and from your interests and from your past queries. Hopefully, you get a nice briefing and summary. And if you want to know more, you just click in the email, and hopefully, you'll get a more detailed response on that subject. And the email should also cover multiple subjects. So I may be interested in 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10 different things, but not all of them may be relevant today. It's a weekend, different things may be relevant on a weekday, different things may be relevant. Christmas is coming, something else may also be on the horizon. Ideally, the AI should learn and keep that in mind, in consideration, and come up with a nice briefing for you that's very personalized. My expectation or my vision is that the briefing should look like your personal butler, your personal assistant prepared it for you, someone who knows you very well, but in a very, again, privacy conscious way. You have access to all the information that is used to personalize. You can actually say don't personalize at all, or you can just delete everything in one click. So those are the two things I wanted to highlight, how I'm thinking differently. And of course, the user experience, like I said, very colorful, very editorial-like. These are three things that are the core tenets of what I want to build. So again, anti-engagement, um, user-centric, so decisions benefit users, benefit humanity. In fact, the mission of my company is to increase human happiness. I sincerely think that information, obviously, not only is very important, but if you can get it in a way that doesn't sort of target you and store all the information to target you with ads or exploit it, instead serves you so that you can make better decisions. Scientifically, we know better decisions lead to better lives. Um, and um, and then just pushing content to you versus you coming and pulling content. Pulling content takes effort. You have to, even though Google is everywhere and just one click, you can open Google and ask a question. It still takes effort to type in and see the response. But if something is pushed to you, that's even better. And then you can read it at your own terms. You want to open in the morning, you open it. You don't want to open it, you don't open it. And the last thing is when a response comes along, when the AI produces response, um, um, it should do it such that there's a flow, there's a rhythm. It gives you a nice high-level summary, ideally visually, because a lot of people, including myself, we understand things when things are more visual, kind of like this diagram I'm showing versus a bunch of text. And then nicely, gracefully flows in more detail and gives you references, sources of how that was produced. Everything is source verified and double verified so that hallucination, like fake things that the AI makes up, is almost to a point that's zero. That's my vision. So these are the core tenets. Um, Here, what you see in this diagram is this engine should power um, an app that's running in a browser, so it's just a website, or it can just be a native app. Uh, Async is something that also I think this engine should power. And what I mean by that is um, you come to this product, you search, and instantly close your browser window, etc. You don't have the time. It's like you schedule the search, and you'll get an email response to your question in email. So the idea is that I'm curious about something, I want to know about something, but I don't want to get distracted. I don't want to context switch with what I'm doing, or I'm spending time with my family, or I'm drinking, etc. I don't want to get distracted. I just want to ask the question and get the response back. And I'll read the response at my own terms, at my own time, um, just by opening my email client, and that's it. So I love that idea. I don't know any product that does that. There may be something similar feature that apps support, but not in the way I'm thinking about it. That's sort of what my vision is. This is something fundamental I want to do because I have this problem all the time. I'm curious about a lot of things, but I don't want to read everything. And I certainly don't want to read the whole response uh, all the time. Right? That's too much mental drain. There are a few other things we already talked about, emails. In the future, everything I build, um, not everything, but a lot of components, subcomponents I build, I want to service that via API. Hopefully, that's a good source of monetization. And this is an AI app. This is an AI product. Maybe there is a subscription, or maybe there are credits that you can buy. I don't know. But that's sort of the vision. I actually don't know what I meant by return route when I produced it. Return route. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what I meant. But the idea is simple. There's this engine that's very generic. It's proactive in the sense that it learns and sends you what you need before you think you need it in a very privacy conscious way. So it's a proactive AI engine, and it powers all these different surfaces. That's the idea. So that's the vision. And I have a lot more to talk about that I'll go in future videos. I have many more diagrams prepared, like this one, where goes in sort of one more level of detail, and each of these components have multiple more levels of detail. So I hope to get as much detail as possible. Uh, Real quick about this diagram, you can see that there's a whole planning aspect to it. When a query comes in, um, there is, execute the plan in parallel as much as possible to reduce latency. There are a bunch of tools that are used, like fetching currency or stock price or weather or latest news about the topic or current events or what people are posting on X or social media. All those are tools that this engine will use. And then there's something called a Craig loop. All it means is there is another AI that acts as a judge to see if the response is good enough or not so far, or the data that we've collected is good enough or not to accurate or more precisely and more effectively answer what the user is asking for. And if not, it tries again with different approaches and keeps trying until it hits a ceiling, um, or a certain quality criteria is met. And I have a specific criteria for quality. And one of the key quality metric I want, and I'll talk about the metrics I'm using, but it should represent human, like happiness and satisfaction, because that's the goal and mission of the company. Somehow there should be a metric that the response should lead to satisfaction, hopefully leading to increased productivity, hopefully that leading to increased happiness. And so all that happens in a loop as sort of the most powerful aspect of this whole um, flow, where it just keeps it trying again, improving. And a lot of tools, AI tools, do this. This is well researched subject area that I'm taking advantage of. And then compose, just like how you compose an email or a document. It takes everything now that we have all the data and composes it. Again, this is where, again, a lot of engineering I've put in and energy to make sure the response flows with a rhythm so it doesn't overwhelm. And then finally, how the response is shown to the user, so the user experience. And one of the things I want in my user experience, which I said earlier, is colorful, more multimedia, more not just a blob of text. And so that's where I'm thinking the concept of cards. So hopefully there are cards embedded in the response. Very hard to do with AI, like today's AI, but I've found ways to kind of figure that out. And some other apps do that too, like Gemini, and other apps will embed images, videos. I've tried to do my own way. It's really has been really tricky, but my vision is that the response looks like how an editor would put it together. So there's answer components and then some cards, hopefully like a video or a map or a stock ticker, things like that. So this is sort of the more maybe 20,000 feet level view, and I'll go in a lot more detail in this diagram, and I've got many, 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 many more. So subscribe to this channel and support if you'd like to support me. I have some links in my description, depending on how you'd support me. I'm not asking for money right now. And yes, I'll see you in the next one. Until then, see ya.